It's crazy to think that a year ago today, when filming this, I was physically in that room where Brian is right now. I was in there and I had some fat cats and
Hey,
I'm
hey, 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 6 feet apart. 6 feet apart. Wee woo, wee woo, 6 feet apart. This guy's not wearing a mask. Wee woo, wee woo. Hello,
um
police.
I think I,
Fauci.
I
Where's Dr. Fauci? SWAT Eric's apartment.
I
Dr. Fauci.
hey, no. See, we're beating the system because we're using Zoom, Ryan. Zoom for all circumstances. That's how everything runs now, is on Zoom because it's
But
the
we've been
year of our
using Zoom for every GOTYcast. Zoom wasn't even,
well,
the internet was barely a thing in 2000. We thought the internet and computers were going to kill everybody in 2000.
Y2K baby. Um but yeah, 2020, it's the year of our eventual demise.
This was a year that I think a lot of people like us became very much open to the idea of, oh my gosh, there's literally nothing that can tell us, hey, you shouldn't play your backlog. It was almost like there's no
It's
excuse.
the excuse. You have no excuse.
No excuse. Gaming was like all-time high. I remember Jade got the Animal Crossing Switch. That was like the week things went to
I
shit.
got
I was at
I got
Target.
I got Animal Crossing a day before it came out, technically, because GameStop wanted to close
Mm-hmm.
early, and they said you can come pick it up. And I said, fucking drive on over and start my island. And guess what? Haven't been to my island in like almost 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's how games like that go. But you know what? We're still here and we're going to have a lot of fun because, again, looking at the list for this year, I thought it was actually a pretty good year. I'm going to break the rules. I'm just going to go through the games because May wanted to jump into frame.
May
Um,
said, games.
I mean,
May, you don't even know
either
what
I do it too
2020.
early. What's up?
May, you don't even know what 2020 is.
Obviously, we were going into a new generation with the Series X and the PlayStation 5.
Oh yeah, that controversy as well of no one able to get a fucking console and the scalpers selling them for enormous amounts of money. God. And even still today, people are still wondering if it's even worth it to have the next gen.
For real. I will say this isn't obviously a big spoiler, but the fun part about our game of the years is my game of the year I played in the heat of COVID, like the year it came out. Eric's game of the year from this year is a very recent game that he played. So I think that's kind of fun too,
Yeah.
that both of our games are like that. So let's see. Sackboy. Jade was so
Yeah,
excited when Sackboy got announced. The
I
power of
have
the
that.
PS5. Speaking of that, Bug Snacks. Power of the PS5.
That's power of the PS5. Check out that. Take a look at this.
Yes, for sure. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, Spiritfarer, Crash Bandicoot 4, The Return of Crash Bandicoot, Ori and the Will of the
That's
Wisp.
not the game. It's about time, Brian. Not the Return of Crash Bandicoot. That's a weird fucking title
Shut
for
up.
Crash Bandicoot.
Call of Duty Warzone was introduced this year. Watch Dogs Legion, because you know that series
Oh hell
still
yeah!
is a thing. That series is a thing still, which is crazy.
And you know what? Well, don't for fucking. They'll probably announce the next Watch Dogs within the next 2 years because they'll say Watch Dogs needs a resurgence, guys.
As they're laying off more people at Poopy Soft. Speaking of Poopy Soft, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, because you know Vikings are assassins. Animal Crossing New Horizons, like you brought up, Star Wars Squadrons, Cyberpunk 2077, which that was a game this year. Last of Us Part 2, that was another game that came out this year.
That's a controversy right there. Last of Us Part 2 in itself.
Doom Eternal, Ghost of Tsushima, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Miles Morales, which was exciting. We, you know, getting a spin-off game of that. Very solid. Fall Guys.
Now he's the main Spider-Man.
That is true. He is the main Spider-Man now. Fall Guys came out this year. That's crazy. Literally the biggest cock tease in the world, where we finally get a game to this series after 13 years and it's on VR. Half-Life Alyx.
That probably would be one of our That probably would be one of our game of the years if either of us owned a fucking VR system.
We already know Half-Life. Valve in general has been 3 times, I think, three
Three times.
times on this
3 times.
channel for Game of the Year cast. That's how good Valve is. God damn it! So that's a game.
Especially since why would we doubt Valve now?
That is true. But then
They
everyone's
don't put out a
game
game
of the
for fucking
year.
18 years.
I think we all know what it is. We played it on our channel. Marvel's Avengers.
No. Oh. The game you can't play anymore.
Nope. Eric, what is your runner-up?
Yeah, Brian.
Of 2020?
My
Oh,
runner-up.
wait a minute. I just realized this is the year. So I'll let you say it. I think you know what I'm thinking of. Isn't say it. Just say it, and then maybe I'll say it after.
My runner-up is a small little indie game that came out on Christmas of 2020. They said, "Here you go. Here's a little fun thing that we kickstarted and we're so sorry that it took forever, but it came out and now you're depressed because of it." Mori. It's a fun little game. I played it on Game Pass earlier this past year. They took it off really fucking quickly, so fortunately it's not on Game Pass anymore, but it is worth a play. Trigger warning for about nearly everything. I will be honest. Not about everything, but
your 2020 completely changed, because wasn't your game of the year at one point Hades?
Isn't that kind of 2019 anyway?
I thought this year was the year that. So we'll break down the secret. Erik comes to me and goes, "Hey Brian, guess what? Persona 5 Royale came out in 2020. So like, can that actually be my game of the year?" And low key, I kind of was annoyed. I'm
You
like,
fucking idiot. I was gonna do the bit for the game of the year. I was talking about my runner up. Dude, fucking Brian ruins the bit.
Hashtag
what was
Brian
the
ruined
bit? What was the bit?
The bit was gonna be, I go, all right, my game of the year for 2020. You guys, say it with me now. Best game of all time, Persona 5 Royal, let's go. And then we start doing the dance and be like, it's my favorite game ever. And you'd be like, Erik, it doesn't count. And I'd be like, what? And you'd be like, it doesn't count. I'll be like, but they added like 50 hours of content. And you'd be like, Erik, it's basically like a remaster with extra content, sure, but it doesn't count because it's mainly the same game. And I'd be like, fuck you. And then the bit would be over. But someone decided to goof it up. My game of the year, Brian mentioned it already.
Of course I did. I read every fucking game that came out this year.
Fucking Final Fantasy VII Remake. All right. So clearly this is the game that Brian has played before too.
No.
You silly rascal. You and your JRPGs. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Final Fantasy VII came out back in the late 90s. I believe it was 97 for, the PS1. Big controversy because, Nintendo was holding the license for Final Fantasy for the longest time. But when they were upgrading to the Nintendo 64, it just was not doing the power for what Final Fantasy VII was going to be. So Square said, "See ya, Nintendo. To Sony we go." And Final Fantasy VII was born. A lot of people's first big jump into JRPGs. It's a big commitment for people. It's near and dear to their hearts. People love Cloud, Tifa, Barrett, Sephiroth, Yuffie. They love Vincent. They love Sid. They love all these characters. So back when the PS3 was announced, they decided they were going to show off the power of the PS3. So they teased it by remaking like an intro cutscene of Final Fantasy VII ish. But they just said this is a tech demo. This isn't even a game. But everyone freaked the fuck out because they're like, what? How can you tease us something like that? That you could make a remake of Final Fantasy VII, but you're just gonna say it's just to show off the processing power of the PS3, which I mean, to be fair, the PS3 was the stronger console between the two at the time. But a couple years go by, we get into the PS4 generation, you know. We're chilling, we're thrilling. They get this guy named Tetsuya Nomura to you know, he's doing this right now with the Kingdom Hearts series, just throwing everything everywhere because at this point, no one knew what was going on with Kingdom Hearts. During the middle of this, they say, hey, we're actually going to do the Final Fantasy VII remake. Can you direct that as well? On top of Kingdom Hearts 3 that you're in the middle of, and also re-releasing Kingdom Hearts on every fucking console ever and adding more content to them and explaining everything. This poor man never got a break in his life. But he started doing that, and we started seeing our hopes and dreams of the Final Fantasy VII remake coming out. As in hopes and dreams, meaning I never played the original Final Fantasy VII, and I really didn't care at the point. Things started coming out that, oh, hey, the remake is only going to be the Midgar section of the game. You know, the first like 6 hours of the original Final Fantasy VII, they're going to make the entirety of the remake. But then it's also going to continue on. We were all confused at the point. We're like, wait a minute. So you're not remaking Final Fantasy VII, but you are?
Well, that E3,
in reality,
I was gonna say that E3 it got announced too was like the E3 PlayStation like really killed everyone because they opened with, hey, remember that game we announced, Last Guardian? Oh, it's actually alive and here it is. And then like halfway through the show, they're like, hey, we have another game. And then they show the little teaser of him walking, and then everyone was like, this game is alive and the remake is a real thing. And that was like 2015.
mm-hmm. Yeah. But of course, it went dormant after that too.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that's how things do. They basically restructured the combat from its traditional JRPG standards. So instead of like the, you know, one person fights and picks their selection based on when their turn is. So there's a little turn meter for each character, including enemies. So you would see that whoever fills up their bar first gets to go. So then base the attacks off that. Instead, it's more like more action, I would say, when we got to see it in action. It was more you spam the attack button as you would in like something like Devil May Cry. And then you have a little pause selection menu. When you build enough time up, your AP meter fills up, and then you're able to like cast a spell or do a bigger physical attribute or use an item to like heal yourself or give yourself restoration on mana or cure status element. It was very interesting to look at and things like that. And again, at this point, I did not care. I just was never into Final Fantasy that much. And I was like, Final Fantasy VII is cool. I loved Kingdom Hearts. And I loved those characters. But like I was never like interested enough to dive deep into them. Except a game called Crisis Core came into my life one day, and I got introduced to Zach Ferris and his band of misfits, and it was a prequel to Final Fantasy VII, and I loved it. They delayed it by a month, and a lot of people were worried because they're like, "Oh no, they delayed the game." Drops in April, big success because they actually put their time and effort to it. It's a nice, strong 18 chapter game. Lasts about 50 hours for a 6 hour section in the original game. You get to dive deeper into characters like Cloud, Tifa, Barrett, Jesse, fucking not Smidge. I can't remember his name on the top of my head. I'm so sorry. He's the fat one. Can't remember the fat guy's name.
The fat one.
think that it is one of the most visually beautiful games that came out for the last generation. Because again, this came out, tail end PS fucking 4's life cycle. And fuck, it's just like Arkham Knight, where like the visuals just don't make any fucking sense on how good they look for a last gen console, and somehow we get these PS5 and Series X games that look like garbage compared to it. Now, of course, they did have a PS5 upgrade later on in 2021, which also introduced the DLC, which was kind of cool. But it was a nice upgrade as well. That's how I played it, was the PS5 version. It's Final Fantasy VII. If you've played it, cool. But it also adds a lot of different things. You notice that there's these like phantom creatures going around. They're like husk. Basically, their whole gimmick is that they control the flow of time to make sure that the plot elements stay the same. And I find that very interesting because there's so many questions that open up about it. It's like, so how does this turn around so that the plot is the same, but we want to add new things? And they kind of get that to you towards the end. Of course, I won't spoil that. We see so much more of Sephiroth in a sense, because Sephiroth really isn't introduced until that middle section. Not that he's not introduced, but he's not more acknowledged till that middle section of the original game. But he's a lingering presence. He really just shows himself off. The guy who plays Superman on the Superman CW show, he's the voice of Sephiroth in the English dub for this game, and he's
Tyler
really
Hoechlin?
fucking good. Yes.
Fucking
Yes.
Team Wolf alum, Tyler Hoechlin?
Mm-hmm.
Shout out.
He's very good. He's very good. We talked about Erica Hartlatcher. I believe I'm pronouncing her last name correctly. We've talked about her a couple times. She's in this game. She plays Jessie. She's really good, but she's always good in everything she does. There's a big controversy for this game as well. The Japanese voice actors were all the original ones from like everything that they have done for Final Fantasy VII. Meanwhile, for the English cast, they recast pretty much about everyone. So people were not happy because the dialogue isn't 100% the best with some of these people. There's a specific character that I can't get into too much, but I do agree that his performance in the first game here isn't that strong. So I'm hoping that the second game gets a bit better. I know that we had the remaster of Crisis Core, and that character is in that game. And it does sound a little bit better, but I'm hoping for the best. I think the combat's very interesting. It changes up the style from time to time because you work in a party of 3 system. So you never go more than 3. It's either 2, it's 1, or it's 3. And it's never like you have to select between your characters, which characters are going to be with you. The game automatically selects them. So you don't have to worry about like stat juggling and things like that. Of course, organizing and making sure you have the best materials and the best magic spells equipped for the right person and the right physical attributes. That's the JRPG stuff in there for you, Brian. That's the main little stuff. But more so, the flow of the combat is not a traditional JRPG. Like I said, it feels more like a Devil May Cry. I would say that. I love the motorcycle sequences you get in this game. You fight a murder house. I fucking screamed when I saw that. I thought that was so fucking cool that it was a boss and it was a fucking house that wants to kill you. It's so stupid. I love it. You get to there's cross-dressing in this game, Brian. There's a dance mini game in this game. It's a small little mini game that only shows up at one portion of the game, and that's it. Literally, that's it. It doesn't show up anywhere else. It just shows up for this 1 second, and you're just like, okay. I think that do with making sure the characters, stay on their trajectory path, as I was talking about, because again, this is the flow of time. They're telling them they can't do this stuff yet because, it would detract from the story. I hope that they continue to try to break away from that, so that, again, that it continues telling its own story, because again, clearly they're wanting to tell Final Fantasy VII, but they want to expand on it, and as well as dive deeper into these characters. But I think, again, I just to wrap it all up, because I've been talking a lot about it. I love the world of Midgar. I think it was very interesting. Of course, I'm sad to leave it, because the thing, again, you leave Midgar. It's not a spoiler because it's in the original game. But now it's just gonna be the second. Plus, the second part has already been announced with Rebirth. Yes, which makes sense because of everything that happens in Final Fantasy VII. From my understanding, Wedge. His name was Wedge. I was kind of right. The fat guy's name was Wedge. Wedge, Jesse, and the other dude that I'm not going to bother to remember his name on the top of my head because I'm already fucking it up at this point. They get a little bit more character development because in the original game, they just kind of die, and that's it. I still think that the boss battles are fucking nuts in this game. They're very creative on what they do, and they really sometimes test your ability to, use your strategy, because again, at the end of the day, it is an RPG, so you're making sure that your build is correct and things like that. But also, it's like fucking sometimes you have the right build, but they're just fucking tough, and you don't know their strategies. The combat is fucking great. It's a great step forward, especially now that we've seen how Final Fantasy 16 has done and has fully embraced its Devil May Cry aspect, as a lot of people like to call it, Devil Fantasy 16. I think it was something like that, because the director of one of the main people behind Devil May Cry went on to work on Final Fantasy 16, so that's why a lot of the aspects are like that. Still have yet to play Final Fantasy 16. Hopefully we'll get the chance to it. Maybe it'll be my game of the year for 2022, except it's 2023. It's about time for me to wrap it up, folks. Final Fantasy VII Remake. It made me into a Final Fantasy VII believer. What can I say? It made me finally understand the hype behind this game. It finally made me understand why people admire the original one so well. But I probably will never play the original one because I'm more invested in this remake at this point. But hey, we talk more about remakes, remasters, and stuff like that in our video Razcast about remakes, remasters, and reboots. Yeah, the third one was reboots. Yeah. So go ahead and check that out when you have a chance. But after this video, because Brian, I'm sorry I've left you on mute for so long, because clearly this is your type of game.
I think Eric got the Rona. I think a side effect of Rona is becoming Brian and just rambling on about 7 different things.
We switched places. Not brains, just places. If you don't realize
it's like the Parent Trap.
Guys, in reality, I'm Brian.
And in reality, I'm Tom Cruise.
Oh God, let him go.
My runner-up is actually kind of boring. Not boring because it's a bad game, but it was like Cyberpunk I started getting into, and then it was one of those things where like I shouldn't have started playing it because I had so many other things. And so I feel like Cyberpunk would be somewhere in these, I feel like, because
I feel like the current state that it's at now.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point though, would I even consider it a 2020 game? Because at the state that it came in 2020 was broken. Cyberpunk's probably more like a 2020, late 2021, 2022 game.
Well,
in a
Eric,
sense.
it's about time to talk about my runner-up, Crash Bandicoot 4. More Crash Bandicoot, or Crash Bandicoot's back. I don't know which one I said.
Return of Crash Bandicoot,
Return
Brian.
of Crash Bandicoot. I never really played Crash Bandicoot that much growing up. I played the kart racer a lot growing up, but I never played the platformer Crash Bandicoots. And when I finally got to them, I felt like I was like, these get better and better and better. And low key, Toys for Bob did a really fucking good job. I thought it was creative. It was fun. The artwork was great. It definitely has some fun twists and turns. Like, again, it's a Crash Bandicoot game, but I think the way they introduced the new powers is really cool. And like that whole dynamic. And the main fucking mask is Raz Aquano. When I heard his voice, I went, it's Raz.
He's fucking Aku Aku?
No, he's
no.
the blue mask.
He's the blue one, yeah.
Because it's the exact same voice. Like the moment he started talking, I'm like, it's Raz. Before Barbenheimer, there was a day in the video game industry where two of the most wildly different games came out from legendary studios, legendary franchises in their own right. Animal Crossing, New Horizons, and Doom Eternal. Doom guy he's at the bottom. He's right there. He is. There he is.
He
hey,
said, help me! I've been cut in half.
I got split in half.
This is what it feels like. Oh God.
So this is a game that we ended up talking about a while ago. The first one, the reboot when it came out in 2016, and Doom Eternal is said. And Doom Eternal is said sequel. See, way to just start fucking up me talking about Doom Eternal. I shut my ass up for you. Oh, is this your thing back at me for the fucking Persona shit?
I played this game. I beat this game, so I can actually input on this fucking game, Brian. Thank you very much. Yeah, please continue on why this is your favorite fucking game from 2020.
Keep it shut for now,
Mister.
Doom. Okay, so we've talked about id many times. It is one of, like, whether or not you like their games or not, it is easily like top 5 game company of all time. They're legendary. They have made an iconic franchise. Their tech, the id tech engine is incredible. They are revolutionaries in video games.
They're crazy people.
And they're crazy people. And so much so, they took a game in 2016 that was pretty much perfect, and they said, what do we do with this? We have this game.
Nah, it didn't say that. Bethesda said, hey guys, we need you to do another one.
That is true. And so this game introduced, I think, 2 things that were very, not polarizing, because I don't think they're like, so what was this? But they introduced 2 things that I think people are on the fence with. One, which was something they said they weren't going to do with the first game, a little more storytelling. I'll be honest, I don't really think think it's as much as people make it. Like, it's still very simple. It's not that complicated. It very much is this god complex, we made the Doom Slayer kind of thing. Like, it's nothing more than that. Like, it's very simple. And the other thing is platforming, which honestly, again, this was one of those things where it wasn't as much to where it kind of ruined the game for me. God of War and Doom were the first 2 series where COVID started, and I said, I'm going to go through them, right? And I finally got the Doom Eternal. I got it cheap. This was like mere months before Xbox bought Bethesda. So I was like,
that's another thing. We didn't mention that
happened. So I was just really excited because the first Doom, the reboot, was great. And I think it introduced and kind of brought back what Doom is. And we talked about it a little bit in 2016, going through all the games. We were saying how that was a game that did what Doom does well, but it innovated and it was being creative and stuff. And in this game, I felt like, one, they took certain things out of the first game that were kind of unnecessary. So, for example, there's no pistol anymore. Your starting gun is a shotgun. I'm kind of okay with that. The pistol was all right, but I want to just talk about real quick, probably one of the greatest means of transportation in the game, and that is a fucking double barrel shotgun with a hook on it where you shoot it at a person and then you go,
I don't know if that's the best transportation. I mean,
not
I'm sure the
that.
guy hooked up, I'm sure the thing that gets hooked on the end doesn't want to get hooked.
That is
Haven't
true.
you thought about that?
To me, it's like that's the destination, It's like, oh, I'm coming to you. Demon.
But but I don't want to. I'm just a little demon.
Like, dude, when you start to have that muscle memory of like using that shotgun, it becomes so fucking fun. You're just zooping around like zoop, whoop, whoop. It's so fun. I think the one thing I really love about this game, which I have not played that much, like I haven't seen that much in games, every gun is important. Like you need to use every kind of gun for different situations, and like you need to know like what it is you need. Like, so for example, I don't know what the names of them are, but they're those kind of cool looking priest creatures that are
I'm
floating.
glad I'm not prepared.
I am going to talk about one enemy that I do know the name of because I know it's a hot topic of this game. But you have to headshot it, and if you headshot it, it dies immediately. It drops all this ammo. So it's like you have to use certain. So you have to use certain weapons, going through them real quick to figure out like, okay, this gun's best for this situation and this situation. You get a flamethrower, you get grenades and like ice grenades. That's fun. Again, the new combat takedowns are great. I think the level design is amazing. Like we go to some of these like cool space locations, all of these like old relic like locations, which are stunning and fantastic. The Marauder, the Marauder, that's our old school mascot.
Yeah.
I was fine with it. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It pissed me off like the first couple times, but once you get an understanding of it, it's like, oh, okay. Like I understand it. It's fine. I'll bring up the DLC real quick. I thought the DLC was really cool. I love kind of where they brought that as well. I will say it is unfortunate that neither one of us really played the multiplayer to these games. We were just kind of in it for the single player. I feel like it is a really good company with like multiplayer and with like Doom and Quake and all that sort of stuff. Maybe we'll do Doom Eternal for like a multiplayer thing at some point. I don't know. We don't have to. I think a lot of what I feel about this game I share with Eric with the first one, where it's Doom, and it's for a first person shooter. Oh, it runs so good, and it feels like the thing I love so much about this game with the grappling hook too, especially, you feel like you constantly have to move. Like you can't get complacent. You can't sit in one area. You have to keep moving, jumping, platforming, swinging, grappling. You always feel like you have to find a new part of the map to get to, whether to get the jump on new enemies or just to get the fuck out of a certain situation. I love the fact that each level has the bar of like everything you need to do with like upgrades, and it's like those special rooms you go to where you have to survive all the enemies, and this helps you get more weapon upgrades and all that stuff and like new gear. Obviously finding the little toys too is really fun. The way the maps are designed is really cool. How there's the fast travel from certain points, which is very cool. So like you'll get close to the end of the level and it'll say, hey, fast travel is unlocked. So you can choose to go back real quick before you get to the end of the level. Boss fights are fantastic. Again, it's one of those games that from a first person shooter perspective, it runs so well and it feels so fun. It's gory, it's gnarly. It has those old school Doom things where I'm thinking of the level where it's like this city, you go back to Earth, and there's just this big creature in the middle of the map, and it's like destroyed all these buildings, and you have to get the colored keys to unlock certain parts to go in. It does a great job of, you never feel like you're backtracking and it feels the same. New enemies pop up, new things appear, you find new secrets as you get new upgrades. You get like a hub at the beginning of the game. You're flying this big ass fucking spaceship, and you get to like play your music, you get to see the decor, you get to change your person, especially on the main menu where it's like the multiplayer stuff. You get to change all that, the background and all that. That's awesome. You get to control the fucking, I think it's the Reapers at one point, where you're like flying around and you're shooting at people.
Yeah.
It's fucking fun. To get your, I think that's the part where you have to get your shotgun, or you have to get some gun at that point. It is what it is, but it's so well put together. And when first person shooters can be this tight and like this focused and look so gorgeous, and again, I know a lot of people talk about the story. I kind of like where the story goes, mainly because we get the new locales where it's this, again, this gorgeous sort of map design and these enemies that look so like kind of heavenly and, you know, look like Bible accurate angels. And there's no Bible accurate angels. That'd be cool if it was just a bunch of eyeballs in a circle. I would have been a fan of that. That would have been cool. When you get the BFG and you just fucking kill people in one shot, it's pretty sick. It's pretty gnarly. Big friendly gun. It's the name of the gun.
Yep, it gives you hugs.
We're keeping it PG here, even though I probably said something.
We've sworn multiple times in this video, Brian.
Yeah, it's too late for that. Big fracking gondola. When I was going back and having to get all the like final collectible stuff, it was so much fun going through these maps again. And just, again, it's that muscle. Again, muscle memory is like the phrase that I'm using this episode. I don't know why I've said that so much.
Folks, he's a big fan of the MM.
Like
Not the MN.
the M&M.
No, just MM. Like,
You said you had fucking input, and you said nothing about Doom Eternal while I was talking about it.
Great game. I said some things. You barely mentioned the fact that we're on Earth for like a hot second.
It's true.
Yeah, Earth is fucked, and I love the propaganda that the fucking aliens or whatever the company that like also brought the aliens to Earth, the demons, I guess I should say, is just like, just fucking accept it. The rapture's here. Follow your demon overlords.
The platforming, I will say, the only reason why I'm gonna also give it a little bit of a break is the way you climb up walls is so funny.
The problem I have with the climbing up walls is that sometimes I'm trying to do something and he decides that he's gonna climb up a wall, and I'm like, "Excuse me, sir, I did not want to climb a wall."
Just hate you're walking, and then he's like, wall.
I really like Doom Eternal. I think it's a great game. It's the best shooter to definitely come out from that year. It's more Doom. There's not really much more I can say to that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I can't fault people for loving it. I can't fault people for, and I would definitely say play it. Absolutely. Like, especially with the upgraded versions for the PS5 and the Series X. I played it on the Series X and with 60 frames a second.
Butter.
Holy fuck.
Fucking butter.
and apparently Nintendo Switch version, it also runs well too. I haven't tried that one. Probably won't because it's only digital.
Oh damn.
And,
we do endorse Doom on the Switch though. We did last time.
Oh no, we absolutely love Doom on the Switch. And if the only option to play Doom Eternals on the Switch, fucking do it. It's a great port. We don't condone buying just digital only games. Come on. Who would do such a thing? Brian, I have to get back to Alan Wake 2, so let's wrap this up. What was your favorite game 2020?
In the darkness and despair of 2020.
Yeah, there were some lights. I will be honest. There was a lot of lights. Again, there were a lot of good games that came out.
Like comments to Scrib. Because also if you want to support me solely and you don't want to support Erik bullying me, you could check out all my solo stuff. So then,
hey, he got you on his channel for Doom Eternal, So see how his opinions look at from 2 years ago. Except it was 2 years ago. It dropped in 2021, I believe.
Oh, that video's gone by this point. I deleted it.
No.
I deleted it because I knew we were doing this. We're almost done. Isn't that weird? I mean, we're never going to be done because we're going to keep doing New Year's, maybe go back, who knows? But like in terms of this experiment for the year, we're almost done.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
We're almost done. I know. Don't remind me. Toodaloo.
Toodaloo. Jesus Christ.